with Cannon. So good to be, decided to go out in the yard again today. It's beautiful out today. You know, it's a wintry day. What is it, 12/28? 12/28/21. We're about to go to 22. Wow, where's all my folks in the chat? I'm not seeing anyone yet. Let's see, the first people show up. Is anyone hearing me? There's Joe Kane's 84. Joe, you hearing me okay? Blondie 1025. I'm using a microphone today, so I wanted to make sure that my audio is okay. Salma Tanj, good to see you. Hello, everyone. You guys hearing me okay? Give me a 1. Put a 1 in the chat if you're hearing me okay. Angela Eng, Alicia B says it sounds good. 5x5, the old police signal for the radio's fine. 5x5. Joe Kane sounds fine. Great. How you guys doing? Covelord equals John Kent. Good to see you, John Kent. You sound like you could possibly be a Brit. Christine Melcher. Great to see you guys. Did everyone's recovering from the holidays? I don't think many people, when the way Christmas fell this year, were looking to go back to work, but I'm sure many people had to. Darlene Voigt, I hear you, and I'm in Canada. Good for you. Cheers. Thumbs up. Great to see you. Yeah, I've been doing some of these coffees with Cannon inside, and I said, you know, let me try one outside. You know, it's there's no more sprinkling of snow on the ground. But so I got up today. I went to the gym, drank my coffee. You know, my son got me this special coffee cup. I like my coffee really hot. You know, so I put it in a mug, and then I blast it in the microwave, and then I pour it in this special cup, and it has a heater on my desk, and it keeps it hot all the time, and that's great because I hate when coffee gets. Covelord, you are a Brit. I could tell by your last name, John Kent. That's a famous name, Kent, isn't it? It really is in history. So good to see all you guys. You know, I'm hearing. You know, everyone seems. I hate to even talk about it, but everyone seems to be getting it or know someone that has the Omicron. I'm not even sure if I'm pronouncing it right. Omicron variant, and it hasn't been as devastating. Maria Louisa Monica Alemán, hello from Switzerland. Great to see you. It hasn't been as devastating as initially when COVID came out, but I'll ask a question, maybe someone in the chat knows. How do you know the difference between whether you have the Omicron variant or whether you have COVID? Is there a difference? I know that it seems that people that are vaccinated, it doesn't hit them as hard, but then other people still get hit hard, even with the vaccination. So it's like, let me just move this. Sorry, guys. I felt like I was a little far away. I'm not centered either. Is that okay? I don't know. I'm trying to get centered here. Centered. That'll be my goal for next year. Get centered. Show your sense. Mary Louisa Monica Alemán, exactly. People don't really know what flu they may have. That's true. Marie Green, the beautiful Marie Green, all the way from Great Britain, and used to be from the Northern Ireland, right? Belfast. Shalmatan just watched the Summer Wells case. What did you watch that, Shalma? You know, we're doing a show Thursday night, myself and Detective Phil. And we're going to cover briefly 4 of the biggest cases of the year. 1, of course, Summer Wells. 2, Gabby Petito. 3, Gabby Petito. 3, Alec Murdaugh down south in Beaufort, South Carolina. And 4, the Alec Baldwin caper, which we know, you know, the way that's going, it looks like someone is going to get indicted for wrongful death or for criminally negligent homicide or for manslaughter. So all the experts that came on really early were saying, oh, this was an accident, no one's getting charged. You know, they're really doing their due diligence. Judy Maris, 1230, 12345, good evening from South Africa. Good evening, cheers. Guys, this is Coffee with Cannon. I got my police off the cuff mug. Kathy Bates, hello. I'm almost forgetting our motto, dipped in butter. Good to see all you guys. Yeah, so the big thing in the news was number one fan. Hello, how are you? Great to see you. Uh, oh yeah, and the reality also the Epstein case. Ghislaine, well, they pronounce the S silently. Ghislaine Maxwell. That's supposed to be the jury verdict is supposed to be coming out any time, and that's a big caper because all the wealthy people that were involved, all the wealthy people that were on the plane, it was called the Lolita Express. Uh, no, still no verdict in the Ghislaine Maxwell case. We'll wait for that. It should be coming out shortly, but the longer it takes, it shows that the jury is being considerate and weighing all the evidence. Um, it would seem that she'll get convicted of something. I don't know. Haven't closely followed that case, but there's been some really big trials in the last, last few weeks, last few months, uh, and it's sometimes surprise verdicts, sometimes not. What I think most of it shows is that our system does work. A lot of us followed the Kyle Rittenhouse thing. Alicia B., my wife, is doing very well. She's actually back to work remotely a little bit, and she's getting stronger all the time. This is at least like a 6 month recovery, or maybe even more than that. But she's doing very well. Thank you for asking. Um, Marie Green, women are harsh on other women. Marie Green, you think that Ghislaine Maxwell should be convicted. Uh, Marilyn Manetta, good afternoon, Mr. Dipped in Butter. I love that. Philly Grimaldi showed me that he's now using that Kerrygold butter. I must have had an influence on him. He's using that Irish butter. Julianne Jackson, how are you? Great to see you. So if you haven't tried that Kerrygold butter, it's pretty amazing. And I'm not doing a commercial for them. I'm not getting any money for suggesting that. I just really like that. Whoops. I just really like that product. I just kicked the damn stand. Marie Louise, you wish that I would talk about my life as a policeman in the past. It's, when you talk about like a 27-year career, and most cops, I like, they do 20 years, at least from my generation of cops, because after 20 years, they can retire with a pension of half their pay and not life insurance, health insurance we were promised for the rest of our lives, although now they've sort of reneged on that, and we're required to go on Medicare once we hit 65. So, yeah, I'd like to talk about my police career. I had a great police career, actually. One of my favorite jobs in the police department, and you talk to most cops that were active, the favorite job they ever had was called anti-crime. And that's when we drove around in unmarked cars and plain clothes, and we targeted, robbers, people with guns, stolen cars, burglaries, assaults on the street, grand larcenies, things like that. And it was really an exciting job because you use your observational skills to spot criminal activity before it even occurred. And that, to me, was really exciting. And I was in anti-crime both as a cop, and I was in citywide anti-crime, the street crime unit, for almost exactly a year, and then I got promoted to sergeant. Marilyn Manetta, we love all the stories you boys tell us. That's great. We have some amazing stories, and I wanted to do a show tonight. I was trying to put it together, and I don't know if it's going to happen. And I wanted to put Tommy Dades and Phil Grimaldi on, and myself, of course, and talk about their upbringing in Brooklyn and how if they went one way, they could have wound up becoming a criminal or a wise guy. And if they went the other way, as they did, they both became cops and really excellent detectives. The Truth, Dades is one of the best ones. I love Tommy Dades, and you don't want to believe it or not, I have never met Tommy Dades. I've probably known him for almost a year, and he's been on my show. Yeah, Michael O'Keefe is a great one too. Michael O'Keefe, he'll always be considered in NYPD history as a hero, with that Kiko Garcia shooting. But he's paid the price for that, he really has. And I know Mike, and I can see the stress on his face when he talks about that. I could see, even though he's happy to be alive and not have been the loser of that gun battle he got in with Kiko Garcia. He suffers from it. He really does. And but he's a great guy, great detective. Uh, yeah, the Truth OKeefe is lucky that didn't happen in today's world. They would have screwed the poor. They tried to screw him back in 1992. They really did try. In fact, they had a grand jury ready to indict him. And then they found out, no, number one fan, I was never a motorbike cop. I was a plainclothes anti-crime cop for a lot of years, 3.5 years, and then I was a sergeant assigned to my own anti-crime team for 3 years, and then that led to the robbery unit, RIP, which was my first investigative assignment. They used to call RIP, Robbery Investigative Plan. Happy New Year, Ken. Did you see the thing I posted on duty runs? I did not. C.R. Patrick, ha ha ha. I like C.R. Patrick. Good to see you. People are trickling in. We're at 48 people are watching. Where's all the people from Ireland? Where's all the people from across the pond? They must be sleeping. What are they doing? Where's the Gabby Cabby today? He's probably working. He's probably taking fares all over downtown London, The Gabby Cabby, you guys have been listening to the Gabby Cabby. What a great guy, He's a good podcaster. When I think about how much this channel has grown this year, it's tremendous. Even though in February we'll have reached 3 years doing this, but we were doing it for the first 2 years all wrong. And by that I mean we were just concentrating on Facebook and the podcast, the listening podcast on Anchor, which has 9 listening sites. We're actually on 9 listening sites. And many people don't watch our YouTube or our Facebook videos. They just listen to us. But it's not very difficult to get monetized on Anchor and almost impossible to get monetized on Facebook, because Facebook, they just keep all the money. They're not interested in you. But the place you want to be, because they do monetize it and put commercials on your podcast, is YouTube. And there's lots of rules. Kathy Bates, you hear us on Spotify. Yeah, I share every single video, except I don't share Coffee with Cannon on Spotify, because these are just sort of personal talks I'm having with my Coffee with Cannon fans. So I don't want to put it all out on Spotify and all of that stuff. So I get to talk to you guys one-on-one here. This is my therapy. You guys are my therapists, So this is Coffee with Cannon, 12/28/21 in the year of our Lord, right? And I'm in my backyard today. Let me take a swig of water. Let it be summer. Robin Gerhardt, like the personal talks. Good for you. Thank you for coming. Judy Maris, you are our therapy too. Well, thank you. I've never been called a therapist before, but it's fun to Real with Robo. I'm on YouTube and I became a member because Cannon is awesome. My fave. Thank you so much, Real with Robo. That's very, very nice. Very flattering to hear that, So I'm trying to think of some amazing guests for 2022. And I don't know if you guys know, there's a conservative writer, and her name is Heather McDonald. And I've reached out to her people, and I'm trying to get her on the show. I think she would be fantastic. She wrote a book called The War on Policing, and it's a brilliant, I agree with everything. Kathy Bates, sometimes you are better than actual therapists. Thank you. I'm going to put my shingle on the back, put my degrees behind me, instead of me golden and me old. You're looking at me old. You can see there's no snow on the ground. John the Gun Guy has been my favorite so far, in my opinion. Oh, John Palucci. Yeah, John Palucci. Crime Scene Investigation is the name of his company. I'm going to have him on again. Smart guy, crime scene sergeant on the NYPD. Now he has his own company, Crime Scene Investigations. Brilliant guy. I love having on guests too. Sometimes it's hard to get guests that will be co-hosts. I've been trying to get Irma to come back on, and Irma's been a little elusive lately. I may even give her a call today and see if she'll come on our show Thursday. But she's a fan favorite. People love Irma, and rightfully so. She's beautiful. She's knowledgeable. She was a first grade detective. She's a private eye. She's a mom. She has 2 grown kids now, right? She's a wife, you know. Her husband's a retired NYPD captain, so I'd love to get Irma back on. Let it be some. Is it easier because it's online now? Cop Talk with Brandon Tatum. He's a former cop. Yeah, he's an interesting guy, Brandon Tatum. I actually reached out to him to try to get him on. In fact, one of my, I was on a show with a female comic named Chrissy Mayer. She had me on her show. And she recently got Brandon Tatum on her show. And I'm going to see if she'll give me his contact information. Alicia B., while I'm biased, Steve Keogh was an interesting counterpoint to you and Phil. You know, Steve Keogh was great. The Scotland Yard people do things their way. But one thing you have to realize, the New York City Police Department and in urban cities across the country, we have to consider that there's always guns involved, you know? I don't think the proliferation of guns is the same in London or in any European country. But so that changes the game, you know? That changes the game. When guns are involved, you have to be that much more cautious, and you have to be that much more on your game, because in a second, someone could pull out a gun and you could lose your life. So I respect Steve Keogh and I respect the detectives from across the pond, but we have a much more difficult job because of the gun factor, you know? And I think they would probably agree with that. It changes the game, I'll just put it that way. Elizabeth Lenahan, great to see you. London is lucky to be an island so they can keep guns out more easily, I guess, you know. But I would be a little nervous to be a London cop and not be armed. I don't understand how they go to some of these jobs without being armed, you know. And even when you hear the media in this country always saying, Marilyn Manette, I would love for another episode about the mob, but from the mob boys' perspective. You know, Marilyn, we would love to do that, but it's not so easy to get those mob wives anymore. You know, they were probably being paid big money by TV, you know. And now, you know, podcasts don't pay, we don't pay our guests, you know, so they'd have to be willing to come on a podcast for free. So I don't know if any of them are willing that. So again, Heather McDonald, I'm trying to get her on. There's another detective that I just got a hold of, and I've been trying to get a hold of him for like 2 years, year and a half, 2 years. His name is Gil Carrillo, and he was the lead detective in the Night Stalker case. And he had like a 37-year career with the Los Angeles Police Department. And he just got back to me recently. Watch Casella take on the documentary about Gabby. You know, these documentaries are being thrown together so quickly because the interest on these cases is at its height, and it's starting to wane now. But they're probably figuring, though, oh, if I rush this documentary out, it's going to get a huge audience, and that's probably not true, because it's to get all of the information and accurate information. Sort of some time has to go by, you know. People are throwing out information without actually knowing the inside information on the investigation. C.R. Patrick, my husband gets a chuckle at me. I tell him, don't bother me when I listen to the New York retired cops. That's great. Yeah, that's great. Cheers, C.R. Patrick. Thank you for listening to us, you know. You know, when we watch, I just had a mother whose son just graduated from the police academy. And I'm trying to think of her name now. Anyway, long story short, she was so proud of her son. So proud of her son to graduate from the police academy and become a cop, like his dad. His dad was an NYPD sergeant. And it just so happened that his dad committed suicide with his firearm. And but still, she was so proud that her son became a New York City police officer, you know. So think of the pride with that. Even though she lost her husband and was left to raise 3 kids alone, she was still super proud to have a son become a New York City police officer, you know. Yeah, I mean, Mary DeLugo McGinnis, that's her name. And I shout out to her, Mary DeLugo McGinnis. I'm so happy that you're proud of your son, and we've had you on the show, and you're a great lady, and you're a survivor, you know. Police off the cuff salutes you. You're a survivor, and God bless you and your family, you know. You know, with the way things are today, even though, I mean, I was, and everyone that wore the shield of the NYPD, everyone that wore that blue uniform was proud of the fact that they were a New York City cop. Because no matter what you say, in the entire world, when people think of the greatest police department in the world, they think of the New York City Police Department. And I did almost 27 years, and I'm proud of that. Totally proud of it. You know, no one can ever, anyone talks against the police department, I immediately go on attack mode, you know, because especially these progressives that have their head up their ass anyway, you know, with most things. They try to talk against the police department. I will give them more than a mouthful, you know. Oh my God. Angela Eng, good morning. Does Cannon have a Twitter? I do have a Twitter. It's police off the cuff. You know, mistakenly, we have two Twitters, and the one with our new emblem is the one that I've been putting stuff up on. And our old one, you know, I've said to you guys a million times, making your own channel on YouTube and navigating this social media stuff, you know, it's not easy. And we're a bunch of, you know, we're old timers. We're trying to figure out how to do this stuff. And I've done my best. I've had help from my son. And luckily, I've had a lot of help from Josh in California. Without Josh, I'd be lost. ACP 1778, tough gig nowadays. The New York City Police Department may be the best police in the world, but the pay does not reflect that. You're 100% correct. You know, some of these smaller suburban police departments, I think the highest paid in the country is up in Rockland County. Yeah, they're the highest paid in the country. Why? Why? Clarkstown Police Department in Rockland County. What do they do that has them right? Someone just said departments around the world model their police departments in the image of the NYPD. Yeah, we've done some innovative things. Thank you, Marie Green. She said, you should be proud, Billy. We're all proud of your service. Thank you so much. NYPD, by far the best department in the world. Jose Reyes says he was privileged to have Wilbur Chapman. Joe Kane, because they keep us safe in Clarkstown. That's right. Joe Kane, retired NYPD captain, finest financial. And he sort of wants to pay those high taxes because they're keeping him safe in Clarkstown, right? Linda Petrovich, how are you? Good to see you. Yeah, Joe, I know you don't mind paying those high taxes for the protection that they give you. They call them mall cops, and I don't want to put them down, but I know they have that big mall, the Palisades Mall, you know. Let it be summer. I didn't get to read your whole message there. Morning, Sergeant Bill from Montana. Montana sunsets. Great to see you. Big sky country, Montana. What do you think of that show on TV now with Kevin Costner? I watched a couple of episodes last night. It's okay. I don't think it's not great, you know. What do you guys think about that show? I can't think of the name of it now. Of course, I'm getting a fog. What's the name of the show with Kevin Yellowstone, that's it. Yellowstone, like Yellowstone Park. I watched a couple episodes last night, and I don't know. I sort of liked it, but I wasn't like, oh, this is the greatest show on TV right now. I didn't really think that. Did anyone else? Anyone in the chat a big fan of Yellowstone? Let it be summer. I'll get you the link to his YouTube channel. He's really awesome. Yeah, you know who's amazing? You ever watch The Donut Cop? The guy's got 2 million subscribers, and I watched him. And you know, when you watch certain YouTube channels, you're going to get critical. And I thought he was great. He breaks down police shootings a lot of times. Nancy Drew, I like it. I like Kevin Costner. Yeah, Kevin Costner's a good actor. I like him too. But I mean, I wasn't blown away by it, you know, and a lot of people. Alicia B, yes, the Donut Cop, yeah. Great podcast, really great podcast. There's some other guy, and he did some time in prison, and he has a podcast, and he's got a couple million subscribers too, and I watched his podcast too, and I was not all that impressed. Donut Operator is hilarious. Real with Robo. Is that what it's called? Donut Operator? I said Donut Cop. Yeah, Donut Operator. He's good. He's very good. Montana Sunsets. I'm in the Bitterroot Valley where it's filmed. Cool. Sean Atwood, I think you mean. Lori Stout. I love it. I'm from Northwest Montana, living in Iowa. Ron J. Hi from Sydney, Nova Scotia. Yellowstone. It's good. You must see from show number 1. Maybe that's it. I didn't see it right from the beginning. But I'm not a big TV watcher anyway. I'm more trying to figure out how to navigate this whole YouTube thing, this podcast, and make my podcast better, you know. Yes, I believe you're talking about Fresh Out. He's a convict, just got out, heavy set. Yeah, but I don't really get his show. Why? Sometimes you watch certain guys, like Michael Franchese, by the way, we're trying to get him to come on as a guest. Former maid guy, former mafioso. He comes across as a super, super intelligent guy. Another guy with almost like 1 million followers. He gets shows and there's 1 million people on it. And it's just amazing. He's really good. He's a good communicator, and people tune into him. Look at Sammy the Bull. Sammy's got, I think, 450, 500,000 subscribers. And I've listened to his podcast, and it's really interesting. It's, you know, you want to hear his story. You want to hear his point of view. And so that's what I understand with podcasters, why people, you know, migrate to certain podcasters, why they go away from other podcasters. And I can't read the name. VOR, that seems like a spammer from the address there. It was deleted by Angie, so he must have been a spammer. Tina Wright, hello, how are you? Montana Sunsets, have you seen Bosch, Sergeant Mills, at a really good cop detective series? You know, I haven't watched it, but the TV show that I was on, The Perfect Murder, Rick Torelli is huge fans of Bosch and good friends with the actor who plays Bosch, and I probably should check it out. There's a new homicide show coming on, Investigation Discovery. I forget the name of it right now, but it's on Oxygen, actually. And the former chief of detectives, Robert Boyce, is involved in it. I haven't watched it yet. I don't know if the first episode came out. I think it's coming out after January. Myself and Philly were on a bunch of episodes of The Perfect Murder. In fact, I was on 6 different episodes. And that show we thought was doing really well. It had a 6-year run. And the year they canceled it, it was getting 1.2 million viewers per episode. And we were like, how the hell did they cancel this? And some other shows that only had like 400,000 viewers kept going. And C.R. Patrick, yes, I saw that. You saw that. That was, you know, that was a bunch of years ago. But I did 6 episodes. I think 2, I was a talking head where I played myself and I just spoke about the case. And 4 episodes, I played the lead detective or the second detective. And it was really interesting. It was great acting experience for me. So much inspired me that I started taking acting classes. And bad boys, what you gonna do when they come for you? Bad boys, bad boys. Yeah, that's a great tune, you know. If you can get a catchy tune. Yeah, sometimes the viewers make nasty comments. Look, sometimes the people in the chat, that's why we have folks in the chat, moderators, keeping those nasty comments away, you know. Could it be about demographics maybe, Alicia B? Look, I don't know what it was. When you get 1.2 million viewers per episode and that's not enough for Investigation Discovery and they cancel you, I don't know why it was canceled. I thought it was a pretty good show too. We had a lot of fun doing it, you know, and Rick Torelli gave me my start, him and Kevin Kaufman. And they must have liked what I saw. And then I auditioned myself, and I know at least 2 other guys auditioned. They were going to try to do their version of like a Joe Kenda type show. And I auditioned along with, I know there was a lieutenant auditioned, and there was a detective. And I guess Investigation Discovery didn't like any of us. They never got to do that show, and they never picked it up. But if they want to, I'm still for hire. If they want to do, they make me the new Joe Kenda. Linda Petrovich, I don't know if it's a personal problem. It's all about money. TV is all about money. Everything when it comes down to it becomes about money. And for whatever reason, I asked about the mean comments because I have friends from far away that says I'm not showing true pictures. Oh, mean comments? Something. I show true pictures. The only, one of the pictures I do use though is a headshot I have from my acting days, and that's probably 5 or 6 years old. Yeah, so I'm not going to go get new headshots because I've aged 5 or 6 years. They cost, anywhere from $600 to $1,000. So, yeah, you think Investigation Discovery would be all about law enforcement and homicide type shows? Well, for the most part, it is. It's mostly about that. But look, some of the shows, I love that show, Homicide for the 48 Hours. I think that's great. They're using the real guys. I think it's excellent. I watch that all the time. In fact, when my wife's watching TV with me, she's like, "Don't you do anything but watch cop shows?" And I'm like, "No, I like these shows, and I like to watch the way real police do the real investigation, and those shows, 48 Hours. I think it's great. There's a couple of other good ones that I like, Let It Be Summer, learning about what that really happens is great. Angela Don Meyer, you love the first 48 too. Lieutenant Pete, how are you, buddy? Good to see you. Always in the chat, Lieutenant Pete and Richella. Thank you guys so much for all you do for us, all the support you've given us. Montana Sunsets, Blue Bloods. You know what? I have a problem with Blue Bloods. The producers of these network TV shows, they always throw in their liberal bullshit, and I would say 99.9% of cops are not liberals, but they always have to throw in their liberal ideology to these shows. And when I see that, I just tune out. I just, when they give these speeches and, this and that, and I just, Montana Sunsets, I agree, Sergeant Bill. So, hey, we're on the same page. When I start hearing that crap, I'm like, how did this, weasel its way into this show, They do that on Special Victims, too. They put that crap in there, too, And, but meanwhile, Special Victims has been running for what, I don't know, 20, 30 years, making K.H. Walker, laugh out loud, liberal BS, yeah. Think of the money that these producers of these shows have made, Special Victims, Law and Order, NYPD Blue with Stephen Boschko, Kathy Bates, 23 seasons of Special Victims, And the one thing that they don't understand on Special Victims, and they refuse to understand it because they just rewrote the rules, Special Victims used to be known as sex crimes. They do not investigate homicides, period, and on the real NYPD. If it's a homicide, it's the precinct detective squad and the homicide squad. Special Victims, get out of here. They're not involved. Even if they may be asked for their assistance if the homicide has a sexual element to it, but it's not their case. The case belongs to the precinct detective squad, the numbered squad, assisted by the homicide squad. That's just a reality that they ignored and decided that, oh no, on TV, SVU is going to investigate murders because we're SVU, But in reality, they do not investigate murders. Bill, what is your favorite city on First 48? I like Tulsa and original Miami crew. I loved the Miami crew. I loved watching when you think of Miami, everyone thinks of sun and surf and beauty and money and this. There's a lot of violence in Miami. I mean, there's a lot going on there. As you guys that watched the First 48, you know that. There's a lot going on in Miami. And look, where there's drugs, there's murder. Where there's drugs, there is violence. Miami Vice was a great show, too. That was a long time ago, long time ago, right? But that was a great show. Excellent. RoboStar, hi. Guys, I haven't mentioned it, but if you're not subscribed to Police Off the Cuff, go on our YouTube, hit that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, ring that bell, ring my bell, right? And don't forget, our motto is that we are dipped in butter, right? It feels good to be dipped in butter, especially that Kerry Gold Irish butter. Jeanette, how are you? You're clapping. Oh, you like that disco song, Ring My Bell, huh? Linda Petrovich is laughing. Marilyn Manetta, you should write a script about cop show send and send it to Hollywood. Every cop's dream is to do that, you know? Every cop thinks he has the best war stories. You know some great war stories? Lieutenant Pete, Lieutenant Pranzo, right? Harlem Raiders, great book. He's got a movie out of that book for sure. Montana son says, my oldest son is a police officer sergeant. My oldest son is a captain with the fire department. God bless your sons and bless their service. They've chosen civil service to help people, and that's an honorable thing to do, you know, really honorable thing to do. Look, I don't know. I'm hoping that this year, my podcast, Police Off the Cuff Real Crime Stories, continues to grow. Lieutenant Pete, that's right. You got to have the dipped in butter mug. It's a must. You have to hold it up high and proud, right? I'm hoping that this podcast grows, but I'm also hoping that someone watches this podcast that wants to maybe take some of our ideas and some of our stories, maybe put Phil and I on a TV show, you know? We got some great ideas. We could have some great TV ideas going, you know? There's a lot of stuff on TV that's not as good as the stuff we could give them, you know? And but until that happens, or if it happens, or if it never happens, I love doing this show. I love talking to you guys. I love having a venue to have therapists, have free therapists from all over the world. Lady is a Tramp, Bill, you would do well on Law and Order. Thank you very much. Real Crystal Champion reality, sure, you know. Alicia B, most TV isn't worth watching. Montana, please thank your sons for my family and thank you. This is from Real with Robo, allowing them to be hometown heroes. Give them reality. Yeah, give them the real gritty blood and guts of the NYPD, you know. We are the NYPD. That was James Earl Jones used to narrate the commercial for the NYPD. If there's a guy in this world, who has a better speaking voice than James Earl Jones, I have not met him. That guy has that booming baritone that is just amazing. And he used to narrate the NYPD commercial. That was a commercial for the NYPD, and it was called Heroes, Always Heroes. And he had that booming voice. And after you watch that video, you either wanted to join the NYPD or you had tears running down your face to watch this video. And at the end he said, we are the NYPD. And it was tremendous. What a voice, you know. James Earl Jones, greatest voice. Darren Cassidy, maybe you guys could break down some of your cases on your podcast like Gravano breaks down his stuff. Luke, I'm your father. That's right. That's James Earl Jones. You're right. You picked it right out. James Earl Jones. What a voice. Luke, I am your father. I can't imitate his voice because he has that booming baritone. I wish I could. Then I'd be making millions doing voiceover, you know. But yeah, James Earl Jones. And he's an old timer now. He's got to be mid-80s maybe, I would say. NYPD tough. That's right, Lieutenant Pete. NYPD tough. Different job now. And all of us that are on this job and have done the job in the past, we root for the guys that are on the job now because we recognize that it's a much more difficult job because of many things. Most look body-worn video everywhere, taking tools away from the police in order to lock up disorderly people and put an end to their abuse of the cops that are trying to do their job. Homeless people all over the damn sidewalks. That's the progressive way, you know. Joe Kane, the video of boats and horses and helicopters and everything else you'll never get near in the ghetto. Joe, you're right. Captain Joe was a narcotics lieutenant, I think maybe a narcotics captain, and he was in the detective bureau as a captain. And all the beautiful things they're showing, mounted, aviation, harbor, those are all what we know in the NYPD as hook places to go. Sandra H, can I do tea with Cannon? You can drink whatever you like, Sandra H, absolutely. But all the great places to go in the NYPD, aviation, harbor, mounted, uh, there's so many hooks. So, and a hook on the NYPD is a phone call, someone who's politically connected. Believe it or not, on the NYPD, you see lots of people working in jobs they don't deserve because they knew somebody. They had a hook. Someone makes a phone call and says, I'm so-and-so, put so-and-so in this unit. You're like, whoa, I'm telling you, I want him in that unit. All of a sudden, you know, they do the bidding of the person that has this huge hook, this huge phone call, it's called, you know. Or they used to call it a rabbi. Who's his rabbi? Meaning that was a big hook because rabbis in Brooklyn are very, very powerful. Ron J, thank you. Have a fun day, you too. Cheers. Samuel L. Jackson, I love him. I think he's a great actor. I love Samuel L. Jackson. Yeah, he's got a great voice too. Regina Muse, good morning from Missouri. Yeah, connections work in every industry. 100% politics, you know, the phone call, we call it, or the rabbi. Getting back to the rabbi, in Brooklyn, rabbis could make and break police careers, especially precinct commanding officers. If you didn't do the right thing by your community and it was controlled by a rabbi, you were finished. They could finish you or they could propel you to the highest ranks on the NYPD because guess what? You had a rabbi in your pocket. And I'm sure people would deny this is the truth, but it's 100% the truth. Richella, good to see you. I'm finally here. Sorry I'm late. Went through for a walk. You guys live along Long Island Sound. I would take a walk every day along the Sound. It's got to be beautiful. Got to be gorgeous. That's for sure. You know, here I am. I'm at almost 42 minutes. I never used to be able to talk this long with you guys, but it's such a pleasure to come out here and talk and have, you know, coffee with Cannon, right? And the mug and our motto, of course, dipped in butter. You know, it's like the luck of the butter. You know, the luck of that butter. But so our next show is going to be Thursday night, and we're going to sort of do a recap of the Summer Wells case, not in depth because we don't have enough time. A recap of the Summer Wells case, the Gabby Petito case, the Alec Murdaugh case, and of course, the Alec Baldwin case that is, of course, still. C.R. Patrick, love the way you pulled up those dipped in butter stickers. Thank you so much. You're advertising for us. Thanks again. Really appreciate it. So, guys, I think it's about time I just said goodbye. It's been wonderful to talking to all you guys. And, you know, something, I'll see you Thursday. And, of course, we're going to wish everyone a happy New Year's Eve, a happy, healthy New Year, and great things for all of us coming in 2022. You always have to be optimistic, right? Molly Moon, where have you been? A bill from Ireland. We have a COVID house. I'm sitting in isolation. Oh my God, Molly Moon. I hope you don't have it. And if you do have it, I hope it's not severe. I hope you get over it quickly. Crystal Champion, bye everyone. Robin Gearhart, nice part of the day to be here. Feel better, Molly. All your family, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's so great again to speak with you guys, and I'll see you Thursday night at 9 p.m., myself and Phil Grimaldi, and we'll be doing our last show of 2021.